We are Anka. Stay tuned for updated real news.
Hello, Anka Daily News viewers. The balances on the battlefield are being turned upside down once again. The Ukrainian army continues its surprising moves on the front line, pushing the Russian defense lines. A recent development has caused great repercussions both in the Kremlin and in military circles. Although Russia has lost many of its top commanders since the beginning of the war, the impact of this latest attack could be much greater. Because Ukraine targeted a very critical name this time and did it with an extremely sensitive operation. According to the information obtained, the Ukrainian army eliminated a senior commander who holds an important place in the Russian military command with a pinpoint attack. This operation may have serious consequences not only militarily but also politically, as the repercussions of this attack, which could directly affect Russia's war strategy and the balance of power within the Kremlin, continue. It's a matter of great curiosity how Moscow will respond. Russia has been shaken by the loss of high-ranking soldiers since the beginning of the war. However, the latest attack in Kursk not only exposed the Kremlin's security weaknesses, but also revealed serious deficiencies in Russia's defense systems. The message that Ukraine sends with such attacks is clear. Moscow's military command structure is no longer safe. So, what are the details about the latest attack? Let's take a look together. Before we get to our report though, a quick reminder, the Anka Daily News team is definitely real. None of my teammates or me are artificial intelligence. Even though AI is very advanced, it's still not as good as us. By the way, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss our daily reports and explanations. We do read all the comments you leave on our videos, so please continue to share your ideas about our content. Tell us in the comments what content you'd like to see on the Anka Daily News channel. And now let us begin if you're ready. Anka Daily News reports. As Russia's aggression against Ukraine approaches its third year, the Moscow administration continues to feel the effects of the war more deeply with each passing day. Especially the recent Ukrainian attacks on Russian territory have become a major threat for the Kremlin. The latest attack in the Kursk region has raised serious questions about Russia's military and political power. The death of a senior Russian commander and another officer in the attack organized by Ukrainian forces revealed that there were significant losses not only on the battlefield but also in the Russian administration. In particular, the targeting of a 52-year-old officer as he was preparing to return to the front shows that the war has become increasingly difficult for Russia and has made the fragilities within the Kremlin more apparent. Russia's expectations of victory at the beginning of the war have been replaced by mounting losses and strategic stalemates. Although the Kremlin generally prefers to remain silent in the face of such attacks, the repercussions of this incident are not likely to be easily erased. Vladimir Putin's administration is facing a major test on the sustainability of the war. The fact that the Russian army has suffered heavy losses not only on the front line but also in the administration deepens the effects of the war in Moscow. It's known that some of the officials in Putin's closest circle are under pressure to take an active role on the front line. The Kremlin is endeavoring to spread the burden of the war not only to the army, but also to officials at the state level. However, many of these officials prefer to serve in relatively safe areas rather than going directly to the front line. Those who serve in drone troops, provide logistical support, and work behind the front lines are trying to avoid direct clashes. However, the deputy governor of Primorsky Krai, Sergei Efremov, was one who bucked this general trend. Active at the front since the beginning of the war, Efremov was one of the officials at the forefront of the Kremlin's patriotism and sacrifice propaganda. Last weekend, however, he was killed when his car hit a landmine. Efremov's death was not only a military loss, but also an indication of a serious weakness in the Russian leadership. Efremov's death is a major blow for the Kremlin, although the Russian authorities usually tend to conceal such losses from the public. Efremov's death was publicized, and he was hailed as a hero. For the Russian people, however, such propaganda is becoming less and less effective. The reality of the war is now being felt more clearly, and the scale of the losses is being realized more and more. The Russian people are paying the price of war not only in economic hardship, but also in the loss of family members who have gone to the front. Efremov began his career as an officer in Russia's elite airborne troops. After graduating from the military academy in Ryazan, he served in various positions in the army for many years. In 2022, when the Russian army suffered unexpected losses in Ukraine, he formed a volunteer unit called Tigers and joined the front line. Efremov, who participated in active hostilities for a year, returned to civilian life in 2023, when he was appointed deputy governor of Primorsky Krai. However, when the war intensified in 2024, he decided to join the army again. This decision had fatal consequences for him. The large-scale Ukrainian offensive against the Kursk region in October 2024 began to pose a serious threat to Russian rule. In the face of these attacks, Efremov decided to return to the front. However, his death in the attack in Kursk shows that the war is now creating serious vulnerabilities not only directly on the front line, but also in Russia's internal regions. Efremov's death shows that even the Russian hinterland cannot escape the effects of the war, and that the Kremlin is coming under increasing pressure. Russia's expectations of a quick victory at the beginning of the war have been replaced by heavy losses and military strategic stalemates. Economic sanctions imposed by the West, Ukraine's strengthening defense capability, and political strife within Russia continue to severely challenge the Kremlin's war strategy. Efremov's death has once again highlighted the extent of Russia's military and political losses. This war, which Putin launched 3 years ago, was initially seen as an opportunity that was planned to result in a quick and decisive victory. However, at this point, Russia is suffering heavy losses both on the front line and at the administrative level. The attacks in Kursk, Voronezh, and other border regions give important signals that Moscow has lost control of the war. Ukraine's attacks are no longer only on the front line, but have begun to have an impact even in Russia's internal regions. Efremov's death is not only a military loss for the Kremlin, but also a psychological blow. Moscow's capacity to wage this war is now being questioned. Despite the Kremlin's triumphalist trumpeting, the truth is coming to light more and more every day, and the Russian people are feeling the cost of the war more and more acutely. Ukraine's recent offensives have threatened not only Russian troops, but also the Kremlin's perception of its security. How do you think the Kremlin can manage these losses? Do you think Russia needs to change its war strategy? Will Efremov's death put pressure on Putin? Let us know in the comments. We read and care about your opinions.